listen.
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Get on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's nobody I'd rather have on than Michael Kopech right now. Nobody I'd rather talk to. Nobody I'd rather talk to. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Great.
Yeah.
I have no complaints in life right now, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Yeah, it's all right to say you got back from your honeymoon. You just won a World Series. You don't have a beard. You're like the whole ball of wax.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we're just got my kids back from getting back from the honeymoon too, so the whole family's together. We're having some time right now.
How long did you grow that? How long did you grow that beard for?
So I started in spring training, and then right before spring training ended, I trained a little bit. And when I was with the Sox still, we had John Brebbia, and I've known for his mountain crazy beards. Just trying to get the whole bullpen to just be like, look, I'm gonna go all season and not touch this thing. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I think I made it. I think I made All-Star break before I started trying to shape mine up because it was just looking horrendous. But yeah, he was the one that inspired me to grow it long. And then I'm not gonna lie to you, I was ready for that last pitch of the season to cut this thing off.
So how quick? All right, so give me the hours or minutes between when you had that last pitch and you cut off your beard.
So it probably would have been a lot quicker, but New York. So we were celebrating pretty hard. I think we got on the plane at 5 after that game, made it back, and I'm not exactly what time we got back, but then I slept like crazy and it was as soon as I woke up. So it was midday the next day after winning it.
All right, that's fair. So less than 24 hours. Less than 20. Yeah. So good for you. You should have put it in a bag and sold it for charity. I mean, I
don't know if anybody wants that.
Hey, all right. First rule of being a world champion: everybody wants everything, right?
Yeah, that's probably true. I saw Gratterall giving away dirt at Yankee Stadium. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And the beer can that hit Daniel Hudson's wife in the head. It's going on eBay. Did you hear about that?
No way. No. I mean, I knew she got hit in the head. I didn't put the can on eBay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The can isn't on eBay. But
dude, yeah. That wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
No, we wouldn't do that. We frown upon such things. All right. Well, last time I saw you, it was we were in the clubhouse in the midst of champagne. Your dad was there. We talked a little bit, and it was so good. Obviously, we talked even then about how long we've known each other and the path that you've taken and all of it. And it hits right there, right? But I got to imagine that, like you said, after you wake up for your nap and shave your beard, it must hit a little bit different. Or did it hit the same?
So I've tried putting this into words for everybody. It's been pretty to do that. But in the moment, living the celebration right then, right there. There's no higher feeling, right? You just feel almost euphoric, like you know how it is. You work hard for something your entire life and you finally get to accomplish it. And that moment and I'm not taking anything away from being a world champion, but it fades pretty quickly. You start thinking about what's next and what after that. It was the same thing when I made my major league debut. I, it's just each milestone in life seems bigger than it is until you're like, this was incredible, and almost not as fulfilling as I want it to be. But like I'm not trying to take anything away from it. I don't want to sound unappreciative or ungrateful, what we accomplished as a team, because it was incredible, but it's not lasting. It's not one of those things that you're like, I'm going to look at this and be a world champion forever. Hey, Bubba, you going to hit the ball?
We got a guest. We got a guest.
Hey, you want to come say hi?
Hello.
He's hitting pine cones with his bat.
What's better? I mean, honestly, here's the power rankings of your year.
Boy.
Number 1, honeymoon, right?
Yeah.
All right. Number 2, World Series. I'm gonna put that. I want to put personal over.
That's the right perspective.
Okay, good. I'm on power rankings. That's good.
Yeah.
Number 3 is literally seeing. Who is it? Your son, or is it? What's his name?
Right now, it's my son Vander. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Seeing him hit pine cones. That's number 3. and then number four is realizing you were traded for the Cy Young winner this year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's still one of the crazier things, and I don't know. I just don't know if that will set in. Like, I'm just incredibly grateful for the Dodgers organization, for them seeing me, for just being in the right place at the right time. And my faith is in, so I believe that's God's timing, that's God's placement, and it's not necessarily anything to do with me. But just how surreal that is to go from struggling on a team to having success on a successful team. Like, it's hard to wrap my head around how low my lows were as a professional and how high my in a matter of a couple months in one season. So I'm grateful to be where I was, man. It was really cool. But like you said, that watching my kid running around out here in cones and walking barefoot through the grass.
Well, let's go back. Let's play this game, or this cliche question. But a year ago, right? You're not coming off your honeymoon to St. Lucia. You're with the White Sox. You're probably banged up that year, right? I don't think right. You're banged up. You're optimistic. You're trying to put the best foot forward, but still, it is what it is. Coming into that year, like there was a lot of uncertainty, but not only about the White Sox, but about you. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so a year ago, it is kind of an unbelievable story for you, and I'm so happy for you because of all this stuff. But it is a lesson. We all like lessons, right?
Absolutely.
How as low as it can be, or whatever. I mean, it can turn. It can turn.
Absolutely. And like, I owe a lot of to the teammates I had with the White Sox, to be honest. The team was struggling, and a lot of things got pointed towards culture, but there were some great guys in the clubhouse that were able to keep me level-headed. I think back to my time over there. Zach Remillard was an up and down guy. We'd have conversations all the time about just being appreciative of what you do have, being great do have, and understanding that this is how that game goes. The rug match right out from underneath you before you know it, and it's just like being grateful to be here in the first place. And it took me a while to I think be in those moments that where I was really struggling in, and be like, I'm still incredibly happy to be on a major league baseball field. And then things kind of started place, and then obviously it's a lot easier to be grateful, but staying level headed is
that's amazing advice from him, man, or from Zach. That is amazing. I mean, because when you're in the whirlwind of it, and a lot of crap went down with the White Sox. We all saw that, right? But when you're in the middle of it, say, and you're dealing with your thing, the team's dealing with this thing. But when you have someone like that saying, "Hey, Just keep put your head down. It'll turn. It'll turn. Which is hard to believe, but again, this is why you're here. You're a great lesson for this.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I bring Zach up specifically because he's one of my favorite people. I've played with him. He's got a great heart. He's incredibly compassionate, and he's also one of the hardest workers on the field. But he's telling me that in the midst of he had just got DFA'd, and he's still in the clubhouse talking to me about this, talking to guys about the perspective that we should have, and he's spending 3 or 4 days in the big leagues here, a month here, going back and forth. Just seeing guys that are dealing with a lot worse than what you're going through as far as the ups and downs of the game, and having a better perspective for you kind of really just slaps you in the face. It's like, what am I complaining about right now? And then to go and to see like guys just happy to be when I got to the Dodgers, guys just happy to be at the baseball, because I think, yeah, hold on, buddy. Daddy's on the phone, okay? And because I think Freddie said this, we won it. I think what made that team special is everybody knew their role. It's not like anybody was out there trying to do more. Like, I went from feeling like I needed to be, this closer, this savior of the White Sox when I took the mound, to being like, I could take the ball wherever in this game, and I'm comfortable that this team is going to win when I got over the Dodgers. And you got MVPs and probably 3 dozen All-Stars across that team. And it just, it makes sense to just kind of like got the game gratefully, with gratitude, just be loose.
Come on.
Yeah. The well, so I want to give, like we talked about the end of the World Series, about obviously that's an easy one to say. Let's reflect on that, right? I'm gonna go to a moment in the World Series where we talked in passing about how far like you came as a pitcher. And it was a time that you had given up the home run to Verdugo, right? And the reason is because a lot was going on. You settled down. You got the last out in this chaotic atmosphere, right? I mean, this is I'm going to build you up right now. That I've seen that situation spiral on a lot of guys, man. Like the biggest stage and everything else. But that I don't know if you look at it that way, but that I was really, really impressed about how you, after that home run, you settled down, you got the last out, that whole thing.
So that I think that I had some good outings in the postseason. That wasn't one of my best. I think I'll remember that one the most, and not because I closed out the game, because it was a reflection of my season all in one game. I had games here in the year when I was with the White Sox, I'd give up a homer, and that would turn into 2 homers, a double. It would spiral, like you're saying. And I had games, it was just like I would try to stay away from a bat after that. I'd end up walking guys and getting myself. Then you got to go to the pen again when you're supposed to be thinking about the game being over. And then you put the pressure on somebody else. And you know how the game goes.
Yeah.
And I saw that happen over with my own game. And so to have that in probably definitely the moment of my career, to be thrown in the 9th inning of a World Series game, and then just, all right, that happened. Can't do anything about it. Let's get the next guy. I think, and I don't want to like pat myself on the back and speak to my growth, but it was just like, if I experienced all that like heartbreak of games earlier in the season, probably would have like tried to grasp onto that harder. And like sometimes you just have to let go, and that was what that game was for me. Is like I have my pitches. I have everybody knows what's coming. It's either a fastball or a cutter.
Yeah.
More than likely a fastball.
Yeah.
So I can either worry about it or I can throw my pitch. And so it ended up being just one of those moments where I was like, I was almost happy to get it over with. I didn't want to blow a game, but it was like, all right, 2-run homer in Yankee Stadium. That's as bad as it's going to get there. Or I could let it get worse. But it's like, that was like the nightmare. As soon as it passed, it was like, all right, we're here again.
It was like, oh, there's a microcosm. There's like, there you go. My instincts were keen. It was a microcosm of what we're talking about, right? Like,
yeah.
And also just to control the emotion, because again, you were riled up. You throw in the 100-mile-an-hour, like every pitch to Verdugo is 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, because you're riled up. And then Muncy comes in, settles you down, whatever. You settle yourself down. And yeah, so I'm glad that, again, I may have like actually characterized this correctly, because for me, that's how it hit. So I'm glad it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, it was also a check for me for a couple of reasons. Like, when Muncy came up there, and he's not the only one that did it. Miggy came up to me from shortstop in the postseason at one point, and then he may have also done that to me in the year. Usually, when a position player comes up to me on the mound, I'm like, "What are we going to be talking about here?" But those guys, like, they handled it the right way, they approached it the right way, and you knew that I knew in that moment that they cared about me settling down because we as a team needed to win the game. Like, all right, they have the right perspective. I need to put myself in the right perspective. So that was really cool to see how they were kind of come up and just like be good teammates in that moment. But like, I don't think people like appreciate that in the moment. A lot of times they see a position player come on. Man, I really didn't want to say names here. All right, I'm going to just say it. Rizzo make hundreds of mound visits in the World Series game. And like you could almost see it pitchers' faces. It's like, what could they be talking about right now? Like we had a running joke in the bullpen of Rizzo visits remaining. And because it was like every time there was a visit, it was Rizzo. But anyway, to put in perspective of like how it was for us, it was like our guys were doing it at the right time, and they were doing it because they cared about putting everything in the right perspective. It was that. And then the second thing was that moment, like I needed that moment because I kept looking for. So the second thing, like, to have like, I don't even think consciously, but like subconsciously, I have my moment in the World Series, like best outing I've ever had. Strike out the side, 10 pitches on all fastballs over 102 miles an hour. Like it was, and it was like, that's not how this game works. Like, you don't just all of a sudden best performance of your life in the postseason. Like you build up to that and you earn it. And like some people have performances in the postseason. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but like we're playing their best team in the world at the time. Yeah. And so it kind of checked me, and I was like, the purpose is to win. It's not to like go out there and have my moment. Yeah. And honestly, like, that was a cool thing for me to realize, is because I had almost like lost perspective of things because I wanted so badly to be a successful postseason player. But what I knew deep down that I wanted more was a series ring. So like when I said earlier, like I needed that moment to happen, that's what I mean. Like I needed it to happen because for me it was like, all right, now we go. Like this is it.
Well, another example is the fact the last game, right? So you come in what, the fourth inning? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So fourth inning, this isn't how jamokes like me were saying, "Oh, what's it going to be like if you close out the World Series and how react and everything else like that." But this is like, oh, this could be the closing out game, but you're down 5-0 and you're coming in the fourth inning, and well, this isn't exactly how you probably pictured it on media day at the World Series, right? But still,
Right.
how important? It was important. This is again what we're talking about. It might not be the script, but that doesn't mean it doesn't carry the same level of importance, because what you
Exactly.
did was you paved the way for ultimately the biggest inning of the Dodgers season. Like that's what happened. And then it was the Fat Joe curse and all that. So
No, I I thought about that a lot actually, because like, man, I shouldn't say this, but I've already somebody. That's the first time, because once I got over there, that I wasn't just the ninth inning guy anymore. I had been the ninth inning guy, or eighth or ninth inning guy with the White Sox, and I knew that I needed to be ready from like much earlier on. Like, it could be the ninth, but it could also be the fifth. You know, so I took pride to the Dodgers of just being prepared to pitch, and I did that. I honestly did it well all the way through until Game World Series.
until what do you say? Until game what?
Game 5 of the World
Game
Series.
5 of the World Series. Yeah, because you were thinking what I was. It's hard not to. And again, idiots like me who asking, how are you going to throw your glove? Or are you going to jump in the catcher's arms? Or whatever.
Well,
but,
it was a little bit of that. It was like everything kind of like seemed like it would have been creating this perfect storm. Like the game before, we had a bullpen game. Guys have been used. It didn't go the way we wanted it to. The next day, it was like, all right, we've got just these arms available. The guys that we've used in leverage spots, we're going to try to use in leverage spots. So we're expecting, me, Vest, Banda, try at the end, or something like that. And we're like, all right, we're gonna be kind of working up the way that we have in the past. And it's like things kind of hit the fan a little bit earlier than we're expected to. And so it's like, all right, how's this gonna play out? We're gonna go back to one guy that we've already used recently. I'm still thinking this stuff out in my head when I'm about to go to the bathroom, and as soon as the door closes behind me, they're like, Kopech, thing. I I was like, so I give you like a little behind the curtain peek.
yeah.
I usually go and I go empty the tank, so I'm not feeling jittery on the mound. Go do some stretching, some plyos, and then I spend like a minute or two in like quiet, where I'm praying, I'm thinking about what I need to be doing. I just a little bit of time in quiet, and then I get up and I'm ready to go. I hadn't done any of it. I didn't even go to the bathroom when he said my name. So I pick up a ball, I shot it off, and you can ask almost any of the guys in the bullpen. My typical first throw is about 50 feet over the catcher's head, and sure enough, that one was the same. So I was like, all right, we're on track at least. And then I settled in. I got, but because it was like the moment kind of took over the need to be routine based and the need to be prepared, I kind of felt like I was playing, and also like things kind of being ugly in the first couple innings. I knew that the momentum that they had was going to be kind of like letting off the gas, right?
Mm-hmm. So you basically just said like how like it was just by the time you got in there, it was just okay. We're just throwing, right?
Yeah. We're just going. Like, this is baseball. This is because at the essence of all of baseball, you break down mechanics and you break down the throw and you look at the metrics, and You look at the statistics. At the essence of all of it, what makes the game beautiful is it's the competition. Like, who's competing harder? Like you can, and the thing is, like, on any given day, that can come out the opposite end. So it's just like, I'm going to go out there and compete with a little bit of preparedness that I have and just see what happens. It ended up working out, and we went back into that game with with a 0 on the board for that inning, and
Next thing,
the lineup we have do it, and they didn't even do it in the way that they usually do it. It wasn't like homer, homer, homer. Here we go.
no. As Joe said, Fat Joe came on the scoreboard, then the Yankees started playing Yankees baseball. I mean, that's what he said. So
yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, it was just like an inning, Michael, that like we just will never forget. Like that, it was, and you're back in the dugout, right? I mean, you pitched.
Yeah.
You're back in the dugout. You're probably, I don't know, like how you're feeling compared to other times you've come out, but you're like, okay, let's go. But it's hard to say let's go when you're down 5-0.
I tell you what, I said, because we did a little chat with Mookie.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you?
Well, I saw the clips. Yeah, I saw. My wife just said, "What is Kike Hernandez wearing? He's wearing like a sweater for his pants." Anyway, that was my takeaway. But go ahead.
I couldn't pull off what Kike wears, so I won't comment on it. But no, so he was talking about it. Mookie was, and I was sitting there like reflecting on it, and that was the most I've ever felt a team in my life, whether it was a high school team that I played on that was just way better than the other team or what have you. It's the most I've ever felt a team when I came into the dugout being down by how much we were down. There's still fight. Like the energy in the dugout. And it wasn't because guys were being loud. It was because guys were and you could see it. Like these guys are like seeing blood right now. And so I came in and I was like, something's going to happen. So I didn't plan on leaving the dugout until saw whatever happened. And usually like a innings kind of playing out like that, I probably, if it's a long inning, I'd probably go in and I'd start my routine. And then, postseason, I still would have come back out. Like I'm not going to be anywhere but the dugout. But I got the dugout. I was like, I'm not going in to do my arm care. I'm watching this game play out. And then it was just,
that's amazing. That's amazing that your instincts told you to stay there. Like that's like,
I wouldn't even say it's my instincts. I would just say it was the energy of the team, and that was what I felt the whole year. Like I didn't get to see the interrelationships of everybody all the way back to spring training and everything. I heard everyone say things like this team was special. This team was special. That's the thing that stood out to me in my 2.5 months that I was there, or close to 3 or whatever it ended up being. What was special about that team, we never seemed like we were out of a game. The energy was always just like, we're that good that the scoreboard isn't going to dictate the game. We're going to dictate the game. And so that was a perfect example of one of those games, and happened to capture that whole season.
It's awesome, man. Like, so this is the last thing I want to finish. Like, and I mean this sincerely. Like, I am like so inspired by how far you've come, not only in terms of baseball playing, but in terms, I know that you went through a lot of stuff, man. Like, I know you went through a lot, right? And we say, like, oh, well, we knew each other for a while. Not, well, kind of. I mean, like, I know you better now than what I did when you were Red Sox.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and like, I remember seeing, to bring up a bad point, but like being the only one in the clubhouse and seeing you walk by with a broken hand, and like,
yeah,
right. And it's like, hey, what happened? Well, ask them. Like, so, obviously you get in a fight with the teammate, but that's one thing. But again, there's things like that, and my interactions with you were always, you always seem like a really nice guy. Obviously, I think that people said it. Even like I remember going way back, I always said I knew that you loved to like work out, like bench press and stuff, like because
Yeah.
I would pretend to be working out at LA Fitness in Fort Myers, you know, at like 10 o'clock at night, and you had already gone through your whole day, and you were there. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So my point is that for you to sort of land where you've landed, like this is another example for anybody, any baseball player, any human being, anything. It's a process. It's an evolution. We just had on David Hess. Do you know David Hess? David Hess who overcame cancer, or he was a base pitcher and he
No,
had
I
cancer.
know of him. I don't know
Yeah,
of him
so he's
personally.
a Christian, and he started a podcast calling the 41 life. And I said, well, why the 41 life? He's like, well, because 41 is when Jesus walked out of the desert. It's like this is the dawn of a new day. Like this is it. And I know, and I'm not just saying like this is a faith-based thing, but it just reminded me of the dawn of a new day, of like you walking out of everything and where you've landed. Again, this is my
Absolutely.
very, very long-winded, complicated, convoluted way of saying congratulations, like for
Thank you, Rob.
all you've done and all you've become. So
Thank you, Rob. Really. And that means more to me than really I I appreciate it more coming from you because you saw a little bit of a lost young kid trying to find his way in this game and how things started to spiral out of control for me and in a lot of ways. What I think was going on there was God trying to put me in. I I didn't really have that. I know I didn't faith then that I have now. And that's just because like every step along the way were difficult or or not exactly as planned, even if they weren't difficult, and I just like couldn't let go of my own goal for what I wanted the world to look like, that God was showing me a little bit of beauty in my walk, and he was like, just trust me. And ultimately me feeling a pull from a quote higher power now, I realized was Christ living in me. And that the fact that I'm sitting here having a conversation with you about being a world champion, I think even those things God has a real hand in. And I had a lot of teammates that inspired me to talk more about my faith this year. And the last thing I'll say is just thank you for giving me an opportunity to vocalize that. And I really appreciate everything that you've done for me, because you've been here for me for, like I said, over a decade now.
well, I appreciate it. So we'll put this on the power rankings of payoffs, all inclusive honeymoon, sun hitting pine cones, world championship, somewhere down the line, this podcast. So but thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thanks so much.